Hello, friends. It's Joni here at Joni's Journals. How are you all doing today? I hope everyone had a happy new year. I am back to do another journal that I saw on Camellia Crafts, Julie, and I just have so much fun watching her and listening to her. She's a goof. But she does a lot of what she calls one-sheet wonders. And if you remember, we did our little flip tag folios using the Simple Stories paper a couple of days ago for our little winter journal. That's where I also got that idea from. So let's take a look at what I've created. And then I will show you how to make the basic journal. I won't decorate on camera because for some reason it seems to me that no one really wants to watch me ramble on and try to figure out where things go, which is fine. I completely understand. But what I might do is I will make the journal with you and show you how to do it. And if I have enough time, I will decorate it up, and I will come back and add that part to this video once it's all done, because it's really, really simple to make. But let me show you the ones that I've created. I've done a lot of heavy decorating with my Tim Holtz bits. If you've seen, I forgot which video it was. I have vowed to use up my stuff, okay? I have so many of these really shiny pieces that are old ideology flowers and butterflies and things that Tim put out years ago, and they're sitting in a can, and so I'm just like, I got to use them up. So you can tell already that I haven't gone over them with the collage medium, and they are still very shiny. I have added some alcohol pen to the paper dolls, and you can see this one's kind of grungy. I got to really go back in with my glue eraser and try to take some of that gluey gunk off. But let me show you. This is the front page. This is the inside cover, and I've tucked in a piece of Tim Holtz ephemera, again, one of those shiny bits. And you can see I'm tucking it behind this piece because what I did want to show you was I added my paper doll to my pocket, and you'll see this in the other one as well. But I didn't want to take a chance that he would be damaged because I kind of liked having him there on the pocket. So what I did was I tucked in a piece of ephemera, and I simply glued the top of the paper doll to the piece of ephemera. So this piece won't come out anymore, but you can still use it as a pocket. So yeah, I've decorated that. There's a little tiny journal in here, and it is 10 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 10. And you can see I've added some little charms to the bottom. I was just bringing back some of my old habits today, leaving my sewing rather long so I could add the charms. And here is another page. There are 2 ways to make the journal. I've done it the way she showed, and in this case it has 2 little pockets on the side, okay? But I think I prefer the way I did the other one. So I'm going to show you how to do that one. And then maybe I'll go back and I'll explain, or while we're doing the other one, I'll explain to you how I made this page. So you can see again, I've just added a bunch of Tim Holtz ephemera, again, gone over the little girls with my alcohol markers. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be making, okay? And for a closure, I just simply added an eyelet and a long piece of ribbon, ribbon. And I've made it so that we can just simply tie it closed, like so, and put a pretty little bow. Nat, I hope you're watching. My friend Nat Williams. I'll link her channel below. I always mention her whenever I have to tie a bow. And we usually giggle about it. I told her I'm going to become an Olympic bow tire. Yeah. So, and then you tie your little bow to keep it closed. And then this is the other one that I made the other way, which is the way that I really like. She had done a journal like this, and I know it's in her list of her one-sheet wonders. And I've made a couple of those as well. I've sold a few in my Etsy that were similar to this, but I can't really explain what the difference was. They were just a little bit different. So again, you can see I decorated the front cover with a lot of those big flowers and some of the paper dolls. And here again, I've tucked in some of Timmy's ephemera. And again, I did the same thing. I tucked in a piece of ephemera so that I could use my paper doll. And I glued her, and these flowers are also glued to the piece of ephemera, and it leaves a nice pocket where you can still stick stuff in, and it doesn't interfere. Okay, again, we have our little journal sewn in with our little charms on the bottom here. And here I've done the same thing with this little boy, and let me just show you. I've glued him down to this piece of ephemera, and it makes kind of a cool pocket. And again, just tucked in some Tim Holtz stuff that I had laying around. But here's my difference. I made two pockets like this. I can't think of what they're called. But I did add in two little side pockets. Now these tags are 4.5 by 2 inches wide. And I've added a piece of ephemera, Tim Holtz scraps that I had laying around. This is 4.25 by 1 3/4, and I just made the little tags to slide in here because the pockets are very narrow. And I have another one on this side, like so. And I've done the same to this one. And you can write little notes on the back, okay? I don't know if I'll sell these. I have intentions to sell the file folder flap journal that we made together with the Simply Stories paper. I do want to sell that, and what I will probably do with this, it has the little Velcro closure, is we'll probably list it in my Etsy along with the two, whoops, where'd the other one go? The two little tag folios. So yeah, I will link my Etsy below. You can keep an eye out for that one. Okay, but yeah, that's how it looks after it's made. And so let's make one. Let me just tie this one back together. What you need to make the basic journal is just one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. I am using some of my Tim Holtz paper, my beloved Tim Holtz paper. But again, I want to use up what I have. And what good is it to me, really, just sitting in a drawer? Okay? So let me take these. I'm going to tuck them over here so they're not in the way. And I'm going to grab out my 12 by 12 sheet of paper. This is my favorite print. Okay? And, of course, hopefully without bumping you and without spilling my coffee, I have my scoreboard. Okay. Let me see if I can bring this down just a little. I hope you noticed I got a new mat. You're not going to be able to see. Let me try and tilt the camera up just a bit. Okay, I think we should be good. I'm going to pull this down and try not to bump you. Okay, not a lot of scoring on this one. I'm trying to think which I want to be the top. Okay, I think I'm going to turn it like this. Okay, yeah, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm using non-directional paper, but I do like this scratched up area on the top. So let me grab, oh goodness, where did I put it? Oh, it's in here somewhere. My little score tool. And I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Well, actually, it's hot chocolate. Okay, it's hot chocolate that's gotten ice cold. All right. Now, what you need to do is you need to score your paper, begin scoring your paper at 1 3/4 inches. And you can see I'm doing my very best not to bump you. So your first score is at 1 3/4 inches. And you want to create this little area here so that it kind of rounds over. You see this little area here? So we are going to make a score again at 1/4 of an inch over from that. Oh, sorry, 1/8 of an inch over from that. And we're going to score at 1 7/8. So far we've scored at 1 3/4, 1 7/8, and then we're going to move over another 1/8 of an inch, and we're going to score again at 2. Okay, so 1 3/4, 1 7/8, and 2. Now you're going to go to the other side, and you are going to score at 7. Okay, go down that again, and then you're going to score over 1/8 of an inch, and you're going to score at 7 1/8. Okay, I love this. This is my Score Pal. I'll try to link it. It breaks everything down by 1/8 of an inch, and it makes it so easy. Okay, 7 1/8, and then over 1/8 of an inch again, and you're going to go to 7 1/4. Okay, like so. Now you're going to turn your paper one time to the left, okay, and you are going to score at 3 1/2. Okay, I told you there's not a lot of hard scoring on this. 3 1/2. Sorry if I bump you, because I'm coming right up against the tripod. 9. Whoop, just make sure I got that in there straight. It shifted a bit. 9. And then at 11 1/2. Okay? Like so. And that 11 1/2 is going to make our little flippy on our pocket. Okay? Because our little pockets do have a little flap that folds over underneath and makes them a little bit sturdier when you're tucking things in and out. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away for probably what's going to be for you for no time. And I am just going to ink up these lines because it's going to be so much easier for you to see what we have to do next. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. All right, you can see I've inked up all the lines that I've scored, and hopefully you can see that well enough on the screen for you to be able to follow along with what we're going to do. We are going to be doing some cutting, not a lot, but we are going to be doing some cutting. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out these little sections here, this one and this one, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your scissor. These are my scrapbook.coms, and I think I forgot to link them in the last one. You are going to cut straight up along this line here, okay? This is your short side. You're going to come over to here, and you're going to cut up along this score line here. And I am going to do my very best, which is not always the best, to cut straight. And you're going to cut up to this score line right here. So you're cutting out these little flaps here. And I can already see that I've done a crummy job cutting. And I'm just going to take and I'm going to straighten that out just a little bit. Yes, there we go. And then you're going to cut it on this score line here. Okay, you'll know which side is which because you're going to have one side that is shorter than the other. Okay, and I'm just going to tear that off like that. Okay, So here's your little short edges, and we're going to go over here and we're going to do it again on this side. Okay? Ooh, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm working in a shadow for some reason. Maybe if I bring my lamp down, I think that might help. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut along this score line here, and we're going to cut that piece right out. Okay? I think this one might be a little straighter. We're going to cut up to that score line there, okay? And you'll see what you have left. You have your two bigger sections, and you're going to be left with a little flap, okay? That's our little flap closure, okay? And you're going to cut across like so, and hopefully this is straight, and cut that section out right there, okay? And it's not, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissor and I'm going to straighten it out. Okay? So now you have a piece that looks like this. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we are going to take and we are going to cut out these little score lines, this whole score line section right here, and that's going to create our pockets. Okay? So again, we're going to cut along our score line like so. Okay, and you're going to cut up to the first score line. Okay, so now you have this section here, which is going to become a pocket. And then we're going to do the same thing. Boy, is that crooked. We're going to do the same thing, and we're going to cut up this score line here, like so, and only up to that first score line, and you're going to have a little flap that looks like this, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it around, and you're going to do the same thing on this side. This is your fold over for your top pockets. So let me show you. These are your bottom pockets, like so, okay? And what you're going to cut out here is the section for your top pockets, okay? So let me flip it back, and I'm going to do my very best to cut along this line and do it straight, all right? No error of the tool I'm using, it's the error of the user, and that would be me. That one's going to need to be straightened out too. All right, and then we're going to cut over here along this score line, like so. Okay. What in essence, you're cutting out that whole center section that you scored. Okay. That would be your 1 3/4, 1 7/8, 2 inch, and then your 7 7/8, and your 7 1/4. 7 1/8, I'm sorry, and your 7 1/4 section. And then what you're going to have is you're going to have a piece that ends up looking like this. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn these over, and I'm going to cut these pieces off. Okay? Like so. And I'm going to cut the other one off. Like so. And then here's what we're left with. A piece that looks like this. Okay? So now you're going to want to turn, just so you get an idea. It's going to look like this when it is completed. And you can see, yes, it's a little crooked, but it really doesn't matter. Once you decorate it, it's going to be fine. Now what I'm going to do is I am just going to take and I am going to straighten this out so that I know that my scores and that my journal are going to, my journal's going to turn out correctly, turn out nice and straight, and that my score lines are all nice and straight. Okay, so I'm going to match up my sides here like so. And I'm just going to push down. It doesn't really matter that you're pushing down on those score lines that you made because they're still going to be there. Okay, so you still have your little rounded edge like so. But now I know that my journal is straight. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with this flap here, because it does kind of throw itself off once you start folding it and bending it and everything else. So I'm just going to make sure that that little flap is straight. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to round it out a little. And you see, you still have your rounded edge. Okay? It is incredibly dark. I'm looking at my camera. All right. I think we'll be good. Okay. Now what we're going to do, since we're going to be sewing our little journal pages into here, we want to strengthen this spine a bit. And what Julie used was something I very rarely use, and that's washi tape. So my washi tape is sticky, but I want to make sure it stays stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put a bead of glue down this little spine here, right in that little area where we made all of those scores. And I'm going to pull off, I'm going to turn this sideways because it's easier for me working around the tripod if I do it sideways. I'm just going to pull off a piece of my washi. I'm going to do my best to match it up to that edge here. And then I'm just going to bring it down. And I'm going to go right here. It doesn't matter if it's straight because ultimately you are not really going to see much of this washi tape. You're just going to see it on the seam. And I'm going to cut it to the end. Whoop, like so. And just push it down and give ourselves a little bit of a more secure area to be able to sew through. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we are going to create our pockets. But first, I'm going to ink all of my... Well, you know what? Let's make our thumb hole first. Okay? We're going to put a little thumb hole in this side and a little thumb hole in this side. I haven't been putting thumb holes in this section because this is so sturdy that I don't think you'll really have a problem. Number one, finding that there is a pocket once it's inked. And number two, being able to put things in and out because it is a shallow pocket. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my 1.5 inch circle punch. First I'm going to empty the stuff out of it that's already in it. Okay. And I'm going to make a little thumb hole. And I'm going to make mine relatively close to the top up here like so, like I did in my other ones. And there we go. We have a thumb hole on that side. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to make it relatively close to the top and snip. And now we have our two little thumb holes. What I also want to do is I want to round these corners. So I'm going to grab my corner rounder. Trying to get this so that the paper lays flat. And I'm going to round these two corners on our flap. And I'm going to use my biggest rounder size, and that's a 10 on this one. And so now this is basically what our journal is going to look like once it is completed. And I'm going to go and I'm going to ink and I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. I've inked all the edges and my little thumb holes, and now I'm going to show you, if you haven't already guessed, how to do this. I am going to show you how we're going to glue it down. We're just going to take a bead of glue and go along this edge like so. I'm even going to put a little glue around my score line like so, and across the top like so. And I'm going to flip this part down, and I'm going to push down, and I'm going to make sure that I push down nice and snug on the side where the washi tape is. For some reason, my washi tape does not like to be glued to, and it tends to, the edges of these tend to pop up if I don't make sure that it's secure. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this little flap here, okay, and you're going to glue that down to the inside of your pocket so that it stays nice and secure, making sure you can see. And I'm trying not to get glue on my brand new mat. And I'm just going to push down and make sure that that's glued down nice and tight. And then I'm going to put a line of glue along this side here and a line of glue along this side here and flip it up. And again, I'm going to make sure that it's staying nice and stuck on this washi tape side, because as you can see, or maybe you can't, it keeps popping up. And then I'm going to make sure that it's glued down nice on this side, and I'm going to squirt, push these edges down tight as well, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to put glue along the top here, glue along the side, and glue along the bottom along that score line, okay? I'm just going to put a little extra glue here so that I make sure that this stays stuck to that washi tape, okay? And again, I'm going to push down nice and secure. And you can see now that you really didn't need to worry whether your washi tape was straight or not, because you're really not going to see it. Okay, and I'm going to push down here. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this pocket. And we're just going to put a little glue along here. Okay. And we are going to flip this flap over and push it down nice and tight so it stays secure, like so. Okay, and then again, we're going to put glue along both of these sides so that we can create our pocket. Okay, and a little bit along here, like so. And I've put a bead of glue along this edge so that this stays a pocket, just so that you know we don't want our things sliding out of this pocket and falling down into here. So that's why it's important to make sure you put a bead of glue along that edge. Okay, and then we're just going to flip our pocket over and glue it down. Push it down nice and tight on the washi side, and go over and push it down nice and tight on here. And then again, I'm just going to fold down nice and tight along those edges, like so, so that we get a nice sharp crease. And there you have it. That is your basic journal. Now, what I did on these, because I put the eyelets in, I reinforced this flap by adding another piece of paper to the outside of the flap and also to the inside of the flap so that it would stay nice and secure and it wouldn't tear once you had put your eyelet in, because you do a lot of tugging and pulling when you're wrapping your ribbon around. So what I'm going to do, I've already got them cut out. I took 2 pieces of what I consider coordinating paper, because this is another one of my favorite prints of Tim's. And these 2 pieces, one strip is 1.5 by 5, and that's this piece that goes on the front, and the other one is 1 by 5. So now I'm going to take my corner rounder, and I'm going to round the corners off on here. And again, I'm going to use my larger corner on here, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing on this piece. And because this is a non-directional piece of paper, we don't really need to worry which way we do our little rounds on here, like so. Whoops, that didn't come out very nicely, did it? Because I didn't have it pushed in right. There we go, okay? And then I'm going to ink these edges, and I'm going to do it while you're watching. So you're just going to have to suffer through this part. Okay, and we're going to go around. I'm going to ink like so. Okay, and I'm going to glue this piece down in here. And I'm going to put it relatively close to this edge here so that when I put my grommet in, it will have something to bite into and will also be a little bit secure, a little bit more secure, I should say. And put glue around that. And then I'm just going to push this down there and center it from top to bottom, like so. Okay. And just push it down, make sure it's straight, like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on here. I'm going to take this big piece. I'm going to ink it up. Okay. Like so. I do like my things inky and grungy. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to center it from top to bottom. Put it relatively close to the edge, away from this little seam here, score here. We don't want it to interfere. So I'm going to put some glue around and around, like so. Make sure I've got the edges caught up, like so. And then I'm just going to add this piece on here. Make sure it's relatively centered. Again, we're people, not machines. So if it's not perfectly centered, the world is not going to come crashing to an end. And there you have it. There is the basic construction of your little journal. All right. I'm going to grab my crocodile and I'm going to grab an eyelet and I'll be right back. All right. I have decided upon a light gray eyelet. Okay. Those are the We Are Memory Keepers. And I like them because they're pretty accurate. When you use your crocodile, they do work relatively well. And if you've ever seen me do an eyelet before, you'll know why that's important for me. Okay, what I do want to do is I want to make sure that I'm putting my eyelet in the center of my flap. So my flap is 5.5 inches long, which means the center is at 2 3/4 of an inch. And let me grab my pencil, and I'm just going to make a mark at 2 3/4 of an inch. Okay, right here. Okay, so that I know to line my crocodile up with that mark to punch my hole. All right, and I'm going to use the bigger hole side of the crocodile, and I'm going to line it up with that mark. You can still see that mark there, I hope. And I'm going to put my little hole in. I'm going to grab my grommet. And I'm just going to put it in like so. And hopefully it will work. I've been relatively lucky all day so far. And there we have it. We have our little grommet in. I'm going to grab my pencil. I'm just going to erase that pencil mark like so. Okay. And then I'm going to grab a piece of cotton tape. You've all seen this before in a few of my journals. And I'm going to give myself a nice sharp corner here so that I can thread it through. And I'm going to thread it from the inside out. Okay. I'll push it through like so. And I'm going to keep it this long. I don't even know how long this is. Let me measure for you. It is 12, 24, Oh gosh. It's about 40 inches long. I may trim some off, but I'd rather start with a bigger piece so that I have enough to wrap and to tie a pretty bow. So I'm going to pull that through like that. And then I'm just going to wrap it around the back. 1, 2, 2 times. Well, maybe we could get 3 out of this. 3? No, 2. So I'm just going to tie a bow, and I may go back and adjust the length of this because this really is relatively long. Tie a bow like so. I hope you're watching, Nat Williams. And there you have it. There is your journal with the ridiculously long tie closure. All right, I'm going to go and I'm going to decorate this whole little journal up. And I've already got some pre-made tags to tuck in our pockets. And I will come back to you when I'm done, okay? Be right back. And we are back. I've brought out the one little journal here and the one little journal here, the ones I made without you, my prototypes. And this is the one that we made together and that I've completed decorating. Now, for you, it's been a split second. For me, it's been about an hour and a half. And this is why perhaps it's better if I don't decorate on camera. But here she is. Okay, I've shortened up the cotton ribbon a little bit, even though you probably can't tell. And I have just done some simple decoration on the front. The little saying says, when words are both genuine and kind, they can change the world. And then, of course, I've added our little journal, 10 pages, just like the other ones. And I've done simple decorations because I love this paper and I don't really want to cover it up. So I've made some little clusters using, my Tim Holtz snippets. And I've got another little one in the back with mushrooms. And I've tucked in some random ephemera from the stuff that I've had for years. And I've put a little bit in the front too. This is one of those Tim Holtz, oh gosh, I think it's a journal card. And this is actually the back to the photo frame on the front. Okay, and I have tucked in a little tag here. Okay, again, the other ones that are 4.5 by 2. And I have tucked in a little one here. Okay, and they were just made with some craft stock and some leftover scraps that I had from Tim Holtz. And there you have it. There are my 3 little one sheet, I'm going to use Julie's term, one sheet wonder, little journals that we made using one sheet of 12 by 12 paper. Did a little bit of scoring and a little bit of cutting. And I hope you've gone along and decorated yours while I was gone. And hopefully it didn't take you an hour and a half. I'm just going to tie a bow. Yes, Nat, I'm doing it again. Tying a bow back into here. And there they are. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was fun. I really do like making these quick little things. And I think my cousin has a birthday coming up. I might actually give her one of these as a little gift for her birthday. So yeah, if you like what you saw, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. I will link Julie's channel, Camellia Crafts, in the description box below. Once you're on her channel, go to her playlists, and she has a whole bunch of One Sheet Wonder videos, and you can probably make one of the other ones yourself as well. Okay, so I'm going to send you lots of love and big hugs and ask you to please remember, again, to like, subscribe, and comment. I am trying to hit 1,500 subscribers, and I do have a few cute little gifts picked out. And if you haven't already seen I have another video out this week where we made this little circle journal, and we did some decorating on it. And this little one that I made, I did finish it up. I did add some of the Tim Holtz snippets to it. So yeah, go over and check those out. And then earlier in the week, we made the the file folder flip flap journal and the little tag folios. So I'll link all of those in the description box below. If you haven't caught them, go over and check them out. And that's it. Love, hugs, see you soon. I think this is my last video for the week. I have been off, and excuse my hands, I'm full of ink. So I've been able to cram in a bunch of videos this week, but I don't know if I'll be back this weekend. I may do 1 or 2 videos next week. My husband and my daughter have to travel to New York. I have to stay home. I would lose a week's work without pay. I have no one to watch the boys. My mother-in-law passed away, and so they're going to go to New York, and I've been excused from it for her funeral. And so, yeah, love, hugs, and maybe I'll see you again next week, okay? Take care for now. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.